factory put it right there. I can't believe, I'm shocked myself. Sometimes I pinch myself. I'm having actual conversations.
Hi, Rodney-san. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is third time.
Hi, yes, third time.
Yeah. So maybe somebody knows you already, but somebody doesn't know about you at all. Can you a little bit introduce yourself?
Oh, so who I am? I'm Rodney Plant. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I live in here in Yokohama. Um, I'm married, have a son, and I'm enjoying learning to speak Japanese. It's a lot of fun for me.
Amazing, amazing. So because you are everywhere in our social media, so that's why many people actually knows you. Uh, But I'm sure people are really curious. What was actually the most difficult part living in Japan, and what is something is the best part living in Japan before meeting Japan Language Factory?
Okay.
Mm.
So the most difficult part about coming to Japan was um, separating from the things that I'm used to doing, and because I knew I was going to have some restrictions on a lot of the things that I like to do. Uh, so I once I overcame that, and what really made me overcome helped me overcome it was the fact that I really wanted to be with my family. That was my most
Mm.
important goal, was to be with my
Mm-hmm.
family.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, with that came challenge because you know I've been coming to Japan for a long time, back and forth as a tourist,
Mm.
and um, I knew I sucked at the language.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't speak the language well, and that was a big challenge for me. That gave me nightmares at times. But then getting here when the pandemic and everyone was isolated, there was no
Yeah.
classes or anything. So, you know, that caused me a little bit of anxiety. Um,
Mm.
and then one day I saw the JLF ad. I was just browsing through stuff and I saw the ad pop up. And I looked at it and I laughed when I looked at it. I said that's not possible because I knew
Mm-hmm.
me and I know how long I've been trying to learn Japanese. I said, well, that won't work for me. So I ignored it the first time. And then like a few days later, I saw it again. And I said, okay, what do I have to lose? I clicked on it. I contact you and, I like the idea. When I spoke with you the first time, it was motivating, and you know, I knew that if I believe in myself and just do this, maybe it'll work. So I gave it a try, and when I first had my first tutor session, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is not going to work for me." Because I kept making the same mistakes over and over again, and that was the reason why my wife said I can't teach you Japanese because she makes the same mistakes over and over again. So
Mm-hmm.
I was imagining the tutor saying I can't work with this student; he makes the same mistakes over and over again. But you know what? My tutors all stayed with me, worked with me on it, and one day it just snapped and things started coming easier. And at first I felt intimidated about the group sessions when I read about the group session. I was scared to go into a room full of other people who were
Mm.
also talking Japanese and I'm making mistakes. So that was a little intimidating. But once I got in the room and realized how relaxed the atmosphere is, that went away quickly. I participate in the room a lot. I like
Mm-hmm.
I like talking with the other students. It's a lot of fun. So here I am today, still hanging with it.
Amazing, amazing. And then, when you arrived until now, I'm sure you had a huge, changing, so how you actually kind of spend the time living in Japan.
You know, so how I feel about living in Japan now, you know, it it became, the more of the language, the more I was able to communicate with the people, the more the normal the environment became.
Mm.
And, before long, you know, I didn't feel challenged anymore. I felt like I was living my life and living my best life at the moment.
Because you think language learning helps you to make it more feel comfortable living in Japan?
Well, how I felt was that, yes, language played a big, huge part in the feeling that I have now. Um, because it's like, um, you go somewhere, you're completely strange, you don't know the streets or anything, you're not as comfortable.
Mm,
Especially if you can't communicate with the people, you can't even ask directions.
mm,
So that those are stressors. Those are things that'll stress you out. But when you're able to ask someone, which way do I need to go to get here? When you can communicate and hear someone communicate back with you and you understand them, it's all that becomes easier. You're not so stressed out. You don't mind going places and getting lost, but you don't want to go and get somewhere and get lost and not even know how to, ask a taxi to take you back home.
mhm.
So yes, language is a huge part of being comfortable somewhere.
So, like, you actually started this master course last year, December, and then level one you completed, and level two you actually even bought the house, and you actually went to the real estate. Can you
Yes.
explain like how you actually start up? I mean, to be so active in Japan.
So what got me so active in Japan is that like I said, I wanted to be able to continue to live my life the way I did when I was in the United States. And I'm an active person in the United States. And I did those kind of things. I had that kind of fun. I made videos and did that kind of stuff. So I just needed to be able to transfer to doing it here. And, of course, learning the language allowed me to be able to do that. And it helped me challenge myself because you know, I'm going to take what I'm learning and put it to the real test. So, it's fun doing it, but like I said, it's a challenge for me. It keeps me learning, keep me growing, you know, um, and it works out really good for me. So I'm
Hmm.
having a lot of fun doing it, and my way, I'm coming up with creative ways of, what I want to do, how I want to do it. So I'm going to keep doing it until I come up with something else to do with my time.
So, some people want to always learn Japanese, and then the majority is okay, the Japanese language is cool. Yeah, maybe I want to go to Japan, or they already live in Japan. I should learn. And then the common things is, of course, they bought the textbook, several textbook because they really want to learn Japanese. And they start up in some hiragana, katakana, and vocabulary, otherwise I cannot communicate with the people. So, and also later, okay, I need to make a proper sentences, I need to learn grammar. Okay, it's a past tense, future tense. So that's actually the majority. It's not only about Japanese language. It's maybe in the future, if somebody want to learn French or Spanish or any language, the step is the same, right? Like usually alphabet, vocabulary, and grammar. You studying a few months. It's less than 1 year, and people cannot believe it. So that's why. Can you like a little bit explain the how you experience in learning language in general, and why you feel like now you can really speak with this experience in Japan language practice? What was the huge differences for you?
So, how I learned, I was one of the people that got off the plane with a suitcase full of books, uh, vocabulary books, writing books, all of this stuff to teach me, to help me learn. I said, I'm going to sit down and read these books and I'm going to, you know what? And I did that. I sat down, looked through them, I read through them. And then, I go out in the street and I listen to the people talking, and it doesn't sound like anything books don't make sound. So, I'm trying to think, okay, am I hearing what I'm reading? It doesn't sound thing. So I asked one of the questions from the book, and the people just kind of give you a weird look, and they just kind of smile at you and and keep walking, because it's so strange. And you realize there's something wrong. Why am I saying it wrong from the book? So I go and I'll ask someone, is this correct? And then I started asking my wife, and then she took the book and she started looking at it, and she said, "Stop reading this book," because there's just so many errors in the book. Um, so I knew then, from that point, right at that moment, I knew then I had wasted a lot of money on books. And I said, okay, I need a tutor. I kept telling myself, I need a tutor. And then I saw one of your ads. And I was like, wow, I wish I could learn that fast. And, here was my chance. Okay, here was your number. Contact you, email you. You're going to have a consultation with me over the phone. So that's what I did. I contacted, I sat and I listened to you and I listened to everything that you had to say. And I'm like, wow, this sounds like it'll be worth it. This will be worth it. I can't be going wrong if I do this. I'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, then I'll try to find something else. And, like I say, I'm still here.
So yeah, Rodney, like always you're really positive energy, and you are right now it's ambassador in Japan Language Factory, and we are
Yes.
making a community, and we are planning to do some online events, so like can you explain, like, because I'm actually hearing some student, oh, like, what you guys doing, ambassador, like how can I be ambassador, I want to join the team. Can you explain, like, what you actually want to help as ambassador?
So one of the reasons why I felt a lot of honor about becoming an ambassador is the fact that it does both that it helps the other students and it helps other people. It helps other people um, feel comfortable about approaching a foreigner and having a conversation with a foreigner to show them foreigners don't bite, and we don't feel like we're going to get bit if we ask a question. So
Hmm.
it's a rewarding position to be in, for the students who feel they want to. I want to be an ambassador. I'm going to be an ambassador. You know, they get to check themselves on it. Am I motivated? Am I following the instructions? Am I doing these things? Am I learning? That's the biggest one. Am I
Hmm.
learning? Am I learning and retaining what I'm being taught? That's the biggest one to ask yourself.
Hmm.
Do I have to be perfect? No, I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I'll forget something. Mistakes happen, but the thing is you know recovering from those mistakes. That's the big thing. That if I made a mistake, do I seek out how to correct that mistake? How do I find the answer? You know that don't be afraid like you say in group sessions. Don't be afraid to make your lips move.
Hmm.
Open your mouth and talk. And
Hmm.
that's the thing. That's it. That's it. When you're able to say, I can do this,
Hmm.
yes, you're ready to put on your ambassador shoes and walk. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, that's really true. Being different is always kind of risk, because Japan Language Factory, what we do is like learning Japanese, just 2 months. It's just totally different from the all rest of the language school. And it's being different. Always some people, against our idea, and why you don't use a formal textbook? Why don't you learn grammar? How are you gonna teach without grammar? But like talking about us is good. Let them think. Run one more time, try to think. Should you learn grammar or not? Which one is the fastest? Try to think once again.
I'll use my son as an example. My son, he's never been to the US yet. His mother tongue is definitely Japanese. Because he understands English. You ain't gotta tell him. Tell it to him in English, he'll go do it correctly. So I know without a doubt he definitely understands what he's being told in English. When I ask him a question in English, He responds back to me in Japanese. That's another reason why I need to learn Japanese. He responds back to me in Japanese. But the thing is, here's the funny part about that. Without me ever, going over and over with him and trying to give him English lessons, if my wife tell my son no about something, then my son will find me and he'll come to me and he'll speak perfect English. Papa, let's go outside, in perfect English.
That's
Because his
perfect.
mom told him no, he couldn't go outside. So he'd come to me. Now he want to be on my best side. So he put on his best performance, just like a job interview. He come in and put on his best performance, and he speaks perfect English to me. But
Amazing.
any other day, any ordinary situation, I ask him something, he's going to respond to me in Japanese. You know, if we're out in the street and he's being, defiant, he won't speak English to me. He'll go be daku daku, you know, you know.
Yeah.
It's amazing, how I watch this kid, never ever want when he wake up in the morning, I'll say good morning to him. He say Ohio gozaimasu back to me. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't say good morning back to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him something. I'll say thank you. He doesn't say thank you back to me.
Mm-hmm.
He say it to me in Japanese. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but whenever he need to use that English,
Mm-hmm.
he do it, and it's perfect English.
That's
So
amazing.
and he can't read, so it's not like he's sitting in the corner somewhere reading books,
Mm.
reading it from a book. He's too young for that. He's only going on
Sure.
3 years old. so so that and that's the way, but that's the way communication works.
Yeah, that's
Because
amazing.
I'm sure there's some naysayers out there who would say, "Oh, it's totally impossible.
Mm.
There's no way this guy can learn Japanese that quickly. No, there's no way." And there is a way. And like I said, I let myself be the guinea pig on this by joining, and I say I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm at a place I never thought I would be with Japanese language. I'm at that place.
Mm-hmm.
There was a young lady on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube who, I've been watching her for a long time, from the time that she said I'm going to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And, I listened to her talk, and her Japanese is amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
I listened to her talk, and I listened to her talk, and I always scratch my head. I wonder, how did she learn this? How did she learn this? Um, but the thing is, I kept asking myself, how can I reach that level of Japanese where she is?
Mm.
And and I would sit there with books and like study them religiously, and just still feel like a total failure. And now, now I feel like I could say I'm in a total different atmosphere now.
But I don't think it's many people are truly believing that they can be super fluent, you know, in their life.
Mm.
So I'm sure in the Rodney also in the beginning, like, oh, that's too high level. Maybe I cannot reach it. But it's somehow you actually feel like wow, I can make a progress every year. Of course, one day I can really reach it.
My wife and I had just started dating when
Mm-hmm.
this woman made this video about she was going to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember I used to show some of these videos of this woman speaking Japanese. I used to have my wife come and sit down, and we were just dating at the time, would come and sit down. Hey, come and watch this. Come and watch this. And I would
Mm-hmm.
show her this person speaking. I said, how did she learn this? Uh, you know, I wondered, did she go to Japan a lot, or I was trying to figure out, what was her technique? How did she learn
Mm.
all of this?
Mm.
Um, and now, she was off to be in Japan, and live her life in Japan. And I remember my wife telling me, the same thing. You have to practice. You have to start speaking Japanese. And I remember my wife used to say that to me back in those days. And then my wife would tell me a sentence, say something to me in Japanese, and I'll say it right the first time. And then my wife would wait a few minutes. She'd ask me few minutes later, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't say it again. And I couldn't say it again. So, you know, and that has always been a stumbling block with me
Mm,
when it came to Japanese. I can sit there, so I said, okay, I'm going to teach myself how to read the language, and that'll
mm,
help a lot. So I sat there and I struggled with, and I taught myself, hiragana, katakana. I don't know kanji. Kanji is a strange foreign thing that I may never ever know. I taught myself how to read and write the language, and I'm still struggling with speaking.
mm,
Uh, and the thing that made it click was really JLF. I hate to keep sounding like it's a punchline, but it really was JLF. And
mm,
now it's like my mind is like a sponge. You know,
mhm,
I hear something, I know what to do when I hear it now. I know what to do
mhm,
with it. And and even with my last tutor,
mm,
she would ask me, is this too much? Are we going over too much right now? I say no. I say no. She say, "Will you be ready for your next session?" I say yes, because I knew I had the tools. I had already learned the tools of how to
mhm,
study this. Everything that she put in front of me, how
mhm,
to study it, and not and have it not just disappear overnight.
mm,
So there is no challenge. There is almost no challenge for me. It's like, give me a time to look at it, I'll have it. I'll
mhm,
have it now, have it here. So that was that changing point, was
mhm.
my picking up that phone call and calling you.
Yeah.
Japan Language Factory put it right there in front of me, bam. And I can't believe, I'm shocked myself. Sometimes I pinch myself talking in 2 months, and I'm having actual conversations. On the street with people are complete strangers. I'm standing and I'm communicating with them, and they're communicating back. And it's
Mhm.
you know it's a great thing. It's a great feeling.
Hey, what's up? So today I would love to share my student Rodney from Seattle, United States. So when he came to my school, he said he already lived in Japan for 10 years and he did almost everything. He did Duolingo, any language application, language school, and also textbook. And he said he can't speak almost anything confidently. And he has a Japanese wife and he has a Japanese children too. So I said to him, I totally understand. This is not your fault. And this is not about your capability. It's just that you couldn't find best learning structure. So we started together. In the first few weeks, he actually had a difficulty in the pronunciation. He couldn't actually move his mouth correctly. He couldn't speak fast. But later, he actually said to me that I went to the park with my son and I actually start talking with other parents. The communication start working. And I said, wow, this is amazing. You just started a few weeks ago and you already start meeting with the locals. What was this 10 years? Now you see it's amazing progress. So if you don't want to waste of your time living in Japan without any progress in speaking, so you can learn Japanese, but if you're not making progress in speaking, what's the point? So take our free consultation. Let's learn our learning structure.